see, Aaron Gray. Melody Anderson. Sam Jones. And Tom Christopher. We're sorry, but my pal Buck couldn't make it. The Draconians got him. So I think we'll do fine with who we have right here.
Just want you to know Gil's got a migraine for me. He's suffering right now. So wanted to make it and he just can't. So he apologizes.
Now give me a moment while I kind of clean this stuff up, bring it over where it's safe. Well, I'll tell you what, let's start, while I'm doing this, let me start off with a question. As I said, I really got interested in flashboarding for some reason this spring, and it's an amazing story. It's been running since the early, 20s? The first flashboarding stories. Then we moved into the movies and merchandising, and it's been a character that has stayed alive for almost 100 years now. You've almost caught up to yourself. How does it feel to be part of history?
Yeah. No, I was honored to do it. You know, of course, I couldn't step into Buster Crabbe's steps, but I did what I thought was best at the time, and I'm very proud of what Melody did as well, and the entire cast. We really had, I mean, we were really the novice actors. We had Brian Blessed, we had Peter Wingard, and
Max
Moncia. I mean, the list went on and on.
Timothy Dalton,
Yeah.
John Osborne, Richard who wrote, created the Rocky Horror Picture
Richard O'Brien. We also had John Osborne, another famous playwright.
Right.
Yeah, but we enjoyed it. You have to remember, in 1979, this was a huge budget. And we're asked all the time, you know, how about the sets and this person, that person. We were just kind of thrown into it, you know, go rehearse this, shoot that, okay, get it, now come over here, do this, do that. So I don't think we really had an opportunity at the time to take everything in and really enjoy it. So now we're starting to do that after 32 years.
That's why it's about time and valuing it, because the production values were so unbelievable, and in trying to mimic that kind of awkward 1930s things with the string and the ship. You know, there was no CGI then. You know, you really look at what these guys did, and I always felt we should have been nominated for production design because the costumes and the sets were just absolutely unbelievable. We're lucky to have them.
Question.
Okay. This is two questions, same subject, and I had asked both Melody and Aaron about this, and they suggested, that's a great Q&A topic. Come and ask that. So, what I had asked Melody was, where did the whole go Flash go, you know, the little cheer she does come from it? She said there was a whole story behind that.
There is a whole story behind it, and it starts with this gentleman here. Actually, no, it starts with the production designers, because in the scene we come before me, all the slaves are pulling these kind of Fabergé type eggs. Sam and I are on the set, and it's a regular just walk through and have a fight. But he says, he looks at the eggs and says,
This is how this they look like footballs. Why don't we make this like a football scene, okay?
right, because he's supposed to be the All-American. Well, I'm supposed to be the All-American girl, so I went, well, I guess I should be a cheerleader, and I said, go Flash, go. I wrote those lines and got no money for it. Thank you very much. And so he started the whole choreography with the stunt guys, you know, the passing and all that stuff, and the 4-4-4 stuff, and then I would go Flash, and then I just carried it throughout the rest of the movie. So that is the story. Very cool.
And the other question I had asked Aaron was, who came up with all the crazy dances on Buck Rogers where you were dancing with chains and Christmas lights and around the globe?
You know, I wasn't really involved with that. I wish Gil was here because I know he knows a lot more about what happened. obviously we had an instructor, a dance instructor, or choreographer rather, who choreographed the scene, but I think it all got changed. I think they did it and then something happened, it all got changed around. Unfortunately, Gil knows the story, I don't. I wish he was here to share it with me, but I don't know much beyond that.
Hello, I was wondering, I heard a story there was supposed to be a sequel to Flash Gordon back in the early 80s. Was that supposed to happen?
Yeah, well, the rights have been optioned numerous times. Stephen Summers, probably 2 years ago. Neil Moritz bought the rights, I believe, a year ago. And right now in development, if you go on IMDb Pro, it talks about that in the development stage with Stephen D'Souza writing and Breck Eisner directing and Neil Moritz producing for 2012 pre-production.
And I have not gotten a phone call yet. I don't know about Sam, but I think the younger generation will take over.
Now, I'm not sure if I should send this to Aaron or if I should send it to you, Tom, because you're part of this story, which is the first season of Buck Rogers, especially Gil, was not especially fond of. He felt it was a little too comic, it was a little too camp. He wanted to build the things up a little bit, make it a little bit more serious, make it a little more Star Trek. What happened? Do you think that you couldn't pull it off even another season, or do you think it just wasn't the right time?
I have a question though. Where did you get that idea from Gil?
Same place everybody gets every idea anymore.
No,
The internet.
it's a very thank God Gil isn't here because it's our bone of contention. I think, you know, shows have, like anything in television primarily, but all movies, primarily film, television, have a rhythm. And I always like to stress with people that when this question comes up, there was a rhythm that Gil and Aaron, as the stars of the show, had to slave over to make work for a year. That's their job, part of their job as the stars of the show. And suddenly, to have that rhythm jobbed, and I mean this as a compliment to the both of them because I can never stop complimenting them about it, to have that rhythm jobbed and a whole new rhythm, I use the word specifically with producer, writers, the tone of the show change is a very difficult thing to do. And they did it beautifully because suddenly you're bringing in one of the greatest English character actors who's now passed on many years ago, brilliant man, dear friend, Wilford Hyde White. You're bringing in this guy like an escapee from Hollywood Boulevard with high boots, spandex, a taser gun, and above anything else, this dome of Marlene Dietrich feathers. I mean, that's a pretty heavy thing to have something come into the show. And you're asking the two stars, they got to adjust to that. And I preface all of this because I thought, as a virgin coming into it, and Wilford a virgin, coming in as the new characters, that it was incredible. The darkness of it, the different approach that they wanted to take with it, John Manley, who I consider just an exquisitely incredible producer, and I'm partial because he cast me, so of course he's going to be exquisitely wonderful. And the darkness that was put into it, the tremendous subtextual aspects of the writing. I had first scripts that the network wouldn't approve because they felt they were too intellectual. They felt they were too deep. There was one that dealt with all of the Greek gods, and they just felt it was too heavy to put on for the show. So you take that and you cut that 70%, and the remainder is the darkness. And in all of this, Gil and Aaron are incredibly supportive. And that's not something you find all the time in our business. Then suddenly these two characters, Wilford didn't even threw the script away, never even looked at the script. Wilford's comments, to just show you, and I'm madly in love with him. We hit it off, our theater backgrounds, much older than I am, but I was able to talk about his time in the 20s and 30s. He said, I was put on this earth as an actor to drive producers crazy. And that's what he did. There were days when they'd come to my dressing room with the trailer and say, Tom, he won't come to the set unless you come over to him and get him. And you'd see us walking at Universal, me in my outfit, and Wilfred, his hand on my shoulder, and he's behind me with his scarf, and he's mumbling to himself. At that point, he was about 70 years old, 71.
Yeah, maybe even older.
So, and he was a brilliant man, a wonderful man. And even in one of the episodes, he never called me Tom or Hawk, he'd say, dear boy. So when the director said, you know, Wilfred, you have to follow Hawk through the cave. Aaron is leading us, I'll never forget it. Gil's bringing up the rear, I'm in the middle, and Wilfred's got his hand on my shoulder, and he went the wrong direction, and I improvised when I'm a good fellow, no. And he said, oh, yes, good boy, I'll follow you. And they left it in, it was on the air. In one of the episodes, he says, oh, yes, good boy, I'll follow you. And I diverted, but it's a whole different feeling what John Mantley tried to do in the second season. And the reason I don't think it worked is that the show never found a home. NBC preempted it after, I believe, the second or third episode. It was preempted from its time slot, which is a dangerous thing to do consistently because of the basketball season. And you couldn't focus in on the show. Do I think it was bad? No. I think it was wonderful. Do I think it's better than the first season? It's not about comparisons. It's about the rhythm of it that you wanted. John wanted the slower, darker, more. Gil did one that was, I don't know if you ever saw it, the Satyr.
Yeah,
that was his favorite.
The Satyr. Now I only have one thing in that, right? Because they didn't expect the character to catch on with a Hawk. So I was only really written into the first 3 episodes. And one morning I got a phone call, like at 6:30, and they said, Tom, you know you weren't supposed to work today, but they need you on the set just to walk across the landing deck. Because it became, and I was very flattered, they just said, they've got to keep you established in it. And Gil, that was the Satyr, it was absolutely wonderful. I think it's Gil's best episode, when he literally is tortured to become a Satyr, this indulgent half-bull and man. And the writing was exquisite, but even that had to be cut down because it got too sexual. And NBC said, no, the censor said, it can't be. So John was on a trajectory because he brought with him a history of television and film writing in Italy and in France, and then brought that to television in the 50s. He was no kid when he took over Rogers. I need to go on about it, but I get defensive of it in the sense that it is not what is better or what is good, it's the rhythm.